Don't be afraid of being in your slop era right now. There is a great deal of frustration creators have when they look at their work and they see the work of people they admire and consider their work half-baked, underdone, underdeveloped. Goodness, can I relate to that myself, right? My entire channel really at the moment is built around producing these underdeveloped thoughts and getting into the habit of developing them live. That being said, the people you admire, the people you're looking up to, have had these spaces before. It's just probably no longer public. A lot of creators have had long swaths of time where they were figuring things out, building themselves up, and perhaps even copying other creators. It is natural in the process of learning and creation to make a whole bunch of things that do not work, that are rough, right? You get better by failing often and iterating, not by succeeding every single time. And if you look through somebody's social media and all you see is success, that is because all they will show you is their success. If you have the courage to show off your misgivings and your mistakes online, then I'm incredibly proud of you, because you will make it easier for other people to realize how hard it is to grow, to change, to develop, right? So no, yeah, your slop era. What is that going to look like? A lot of low-effort content staggered out over a long period of time. It might look like half-done sketches or duds, for example, my duds. I put up some of the thoughts that are even less developed up sometimes, because while the machine continues to grind in content and release such, something needs to be put out. To stay relevant, you must be constantly putting something out. And the algorithm actually incentivizes you to put out stuff that is all right. Not brilliant, not terrible, but something that maintains your position in the conversation. And you might not be proud of these offerings, these moments, but not everything has to be a portfolio piece. I think we all have pieces of art that we really enjoy, that we're very proud of, that we think exemplify us. And are those ever the ones to pop off? With a great deal of luck and hope and chutzpah, perhaps, but otherwise, it gets the same traction as everything else you produce. It might be better to just produce more. Now, to the opposite point, I want to make more things, more meaningful, valuable things, and I need to carve out space and time for them. But it's about giving yourself grace. Sometimes, the best you can do at any given moment is not what you want to put out. And that's okay. Sometimes the best you can do at any given moment trends under the average of what you want to place. And that's okay. Because as long as you continue creating, shotgunning, if you will, one of those pellets are going to hit. One of those pellets are going to stick. And you're going to be fantastic. I've been talking to a buddy recently, and they have the courage to show me all of their works in progress, all of their old work that they chuckle and chortle at, thinking, oh, I couldn't believe I've done this in the past, or this was so high concept and I can't believe I had the courage to. And I just look at them, cheeks resting on my hands and just being so proud of them, you know? Not only because they've gone through these steps that are no longer public or visible, that they've hidden for their own ego, for their own self-security, but also because they had the capacity to dream that big and do that thing even when they didn't have it behind them, when they didn't have the skill to execute it the way they would have wanted. I think slop, at least as I've absorbed the term in YouTube comments and in Twitter, tends to have this implication of low effort. And not only low effort, but it is derisively low effort, that there is no artistic merit, heart, or soul in those things. But I think that is exonymic. For those of you who don't know, an exonym is something that people who are not that person or not that people put on a thing, right? It is a label that people who are not creating, inspiring, making things put on that thing. And it's so easy to make a value judgment. It is so easy to call something out as though it is low value because it has little value to you. But what is courageous is empathizing and thinking about what it took to put that slop out in the first place. What is brilliant is to think about, this must have been 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours in the editing room. These are the tools they must have used for it. I've really found myself having a great deal of love for even small content farms recently, because you have to think about the workflow. You have to think about what it takes from a person to produce daily. I used to produce videos daily, and can I tell you, I had no time for anything else. Every morning, it was a recording session, and then every morning it was an editing session, and then every morning it was a thumbnail and branding session, and then all of a sudden, I sent it out, and it might not even get 50 views. For those people to produce those videos every day, whether it be on the day or in aggregate, it's incredible. And eventually they get seen, and if the videos, slop as they are, provide value, then people will watch, people will stick by. And the expectations that we put on ourselves are so different from the expectations people put on us, right? Maybe it's my perfectionist talking, but I'm constantly releasing work that I'm not proud of, because it's better to be in the space than it is to watch and not participate. And when I put out something that I'm proud of, 9 times out of 10, it's not seen as favorably as I look at it. What people expect of us, what people want out of their work, out of what they watch, what they listen to, can be a completely different set of criterion. And some of those criterion might be higher than yours. Some of them won't be able to look at you without feeling disgust. But others will look upon you and go, this is the best thing I've ever seen. I can't even comprehend, conceptualize what makes this so high. I'm trying to, in this conversation, detach the term slop from content farms, specifically places that make low-effort content aimed towards children. Because, while that is the genesis of the term, I do think that it's worth noting that there are children on this platform. There are kids who will look at a lot of very basic work and be amazed and stunned by it. Sure, you'll have to be faster and louder paced. Louder and faster paced. But it's part of why one of the biggest pieces of advice out there is know your audience, know how to tap into those people who like you, because it makes it so much easier. It makes it so much easier to craft your work towards somebody in mind than to shoot in the dark and see what happens. Honestly, advice I should be taking myself. You might not be in the position right now to make what you want. And you might be in the position right now where you're making a lot of things, but those things aren't anywhere close to where you need them to be. And I think we need to give ourselves the kindness and grace to produce bad art. And that is not to say bad objectively, but things that we would call bad. And people can tear you down. People can be very, very mean. People can poke at each small particle in the grand scheme of your canon of work. But if they're not making anything, do they really have the right? Ding, 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 10 minutes.